What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the shelf. Today we are talking about the highly anticipated Alien Romulus. This is one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and I was really excited for it. When I heard that Fede Alvarez was going to be doing an Alien movie, I was like, that's going to be good. And I was not disappointed. So I'm not going to break down the movie beat by beat or anything like that. I'm going to tell you the things I liked about it, the things I didn't like about it, what people are saying in general, what the consensus is, because this movie has been pretty divisive, I will say. But I think overall, this movie does so many things right that the few things that it does wrong, in my opinion, are not enough to make this anything less than like a 4.5 out of 5. So the first thing I want to talk about is just Fede Alvarez. You know, Fede is very clearly, if you watch any interviews with him, you can tell he is a diehard Alien fan. He is like us, right? So I actually saw the first Alien back in like May or something for the 45th anniversary. And before the film plays, there's a really cool interview that has since become available online. But there was a really cool interview with Fede Alvarez sitting down and talking with Ridley Scott. And the two of them just kind of chopping it up. And it's really cool. And you can tell from that interview that Fede loves Alien. And not just the first film either. He really loves like the whole franchise. And that's evident in this film, but we'll get to that. So when I heard that Fede was going to be the director of the new Alien film, I really had a feeling in my gut that that was really going to be a good pairing. And having seen the film now, I can confidently say that he was the right choice because he nailed it. He knocked this out of the park. Fede brings a lot to this franchise. He not only pays homage to almost every movie that came before, but he also introduces a lot of new ideas as well. So what you're left with is this really, really good experience where you're seeing a lot of things you know, but you're also being like, oh, that's a cool idea, and it makes perfect sense within the context of this world. There was actually so many things that Fede introduced to the franchise that I actually wrote down a list. Now, granted, I have not seen Alien 3 or Alien 4 in a very long time. So, if any of these are not actually new to the franchise, please let me know down in the comments and let me know that I was wrong. So there's the X-ray thing, right? Which is this technology where you can see through your skin. Makes a lot of sense when there's a chest burster, and it makes for a really cool little thing there. So that was cool. It's a minor thing, but it's a cool little idea. Then there's the idea of the xenomorph being like born early. There's this idea that they present where if you use cryo on the facehugger and cool it down, it'll stop them from killing the host victim. So that's a cool idea that's unique in and of itself. And then the idea of that is now the xenomorph is like premature. So that presents a whole new idea as well, where it's this cool concept that we just haven't seen before yet. There's the thing that pays off in the third act with the girl being pregnant. Now, I know something similar was done in Resurrection. I haven't seen that in a really long time, to the point where I almost don't remember it at all. So I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that it is done way better here than it is in that movie. And then there's the whole scene where there's the facehuggers using heat signatures to sense you. That was a really cool idea. Again, maybe that was mentioned in other films and I just missed it, but I'm pretty sure that's unique to Alien Romulus. So that brings me to just like all the cool set pieces that are in this movie. First, you've got the scene in the cryo chamber where the characters are getting the cryo to use on their pods in the ship. But that same cryo is being used in this room to keep all these facehuggers frozen. So I thought that was really cool that this cryo can be used for like multiple things. It added a little bit to the world building, and that's just a small detail that I appreciated. All the stuff that happens in that room is so tense. Like, they can't get the door open. Rain goes and gets the module from Rook, brings it back, slips it through to give to Andy. All the while, the facehuggers are running around the room. It's really tense, and it's really, really cool. Then later, you have the set piece where Andy, Rain, and the guy, I can't remember his name, all have to navigate through the room with the facehuggers while not making any sound and keeping their heat temperature the same as the temperature of the room. Really cool idea. It felt like a sequence out of a horror video game, and I really, really appreciated that. Then, in the third act, you have the sequence where they decide to turn the gravity off, and use the colonial marine rifles to kill all these xenomorphs in a really cool sequence. And then all of their acid blood is now like swarming around the room. And then they have to then navigate through the room and like navigate past the acid blood. And then there's a really cool sequence where Rain has to use the gun's propulsion to like blast her out of the way of the acid blood. It was just so cool. I'm sitting there in the theater just absolutely giddy because it was so much fun. It was just so cool. It was tense. It was exciting. It was innovative. It's using ideas that are already established in this franchise and expanding on them and using them in clever ways for just to make for really intense sequences. And I just thought it was so well done. I want to take this time right now to address some criticisms that people are having with the film and myself as well. So first of all, right out of the gate, the CGI of Rook. The decision to use Ian Holm's likeness on this android makes sense in the story of Alien because they're androids and they have particular models and there are multiple versions of each model. So it makes sense. This is not Ash from Alien, this is Rook, but it just happens to resemble Ian Holm, who is an actor who sadly passed away in 2020. And when I first saw him in the film, the first time you see him, he's like obscured by shadows, which I thought was really cool. I was like, oh, that's cool, but are they going to show him? Because you always have to wonder how they are going to handle that, right? Some people go the route of recasting the role. Sometimes they just show you enough to let you know that it's that person, but they don't show you the face, so it's okay. But this, unfortunately, decides to go the route of showing Ian Holm. And they show him a lot. It didn't really work. I didn't think it looked good. I still do not think the technology for that is there. It might not ever get there, but like, it's really not good here. Rogue One was like a decade ago, and it looks pretty on par with that. So like, I don't know. I think we should maybe stop doing that. I really like what Mike Flanagan did with Dr. Sleep, where he recasted like Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall's role, and God, what's the name of Scatman Crothers? Is that his name? Doc Halloran. The Shining. It's Scatman Crothers. Okay, just had to check that because that was going to bother me. Anyway, my point is they show Rook, aka Ian Holm, a lot. It's a digital CGI face. It doesn't look good. It's okay. If there wasn't so much other cool shit happening in this movie, it would be a problem for me, but I didn't find it to be enough of an issue. So it really doesn't lose a lot of points for me in that department. The other thing that people are saying about this movie is that it's derivative of the other movies in the franchise and that it's a movie that's not really about anything. They're unfairly comparing it, in my opinion, to Alien and Aliens, which present these really cool ideas about class warfare, the evils of corporations. They talk about the notion of life and who created humans. All that stuff. And I guess there's this unfair expectation for Romulus to, come up with something new to bring in, which they did. I went into a ton of things that they introduced, which are all really cool in my opinion. And it's just like, why does this movie need to reinvent the wheel? I don't really think that it's necessary. And the other thing is that it really doesn't make sense for it to, because it's clearly playing in a sandbox that's already been well established. So obviously it's going to be derivative because the nature of sequels is to be derivative. So for some reason, people are putting these really lofty expectations on Alien Romulus because it's in the Alien franchise, as if half the movies in this franchise aren't really bad, which they kind of are. I don't know if you count AVP movies, they're not good. People don't like 3, people don't like 4. Covenant and Prometheus are very divisive. The only 2 that are universally acclaimed are Alien and Aliens. So like, in my opinion, Fede did just fine. For me, I like this more than Aliens. I know. If you want to unsubscribe, I understand. Also, something I noticed visually is that since this is set between Alien and Aliens, Alien is like a pretty green movie, especially on the poster. And then Aliens is pretty blue movie, especially on the poster. And Romulus is a very red movie in the film and on the poster. Obviously intentional. I thought it was really cool. Creates this nice little RGB trilogy. I don't know. I might have just coined that. Feel free to use it if you want to. Not to mention, this movie looks beautiful. So many awesome shots in this movie where I was like doing the Leo point. I was like, that's a good shot. That's a good shot. That's a really good shot. I can't wait for this to be out on like digital and like people will start posting like screenshots of all the really cool shots from this movie, and because there are a lot, trust me. Not to mention the sound design. Sound design goes crazy. Everything is great. I can't wait to watch this at home. It's exactly what you would expect a Alien movie filmed in the modern day to look like. It's somehow able to feel like it's set in that time. Thankfully, because they use a lot of practical effects here, which that's another thing I really appreciate. Like there's so much about this movie that does it well, and people are getting hung up on a CGI face. What do you want? What do people want? People didn't like Covenant. They complained about Prometheus. I don't understand. People, when they try to do something new, when Ridley Scott himself tries to do something new, you don't like that. Fede plays it too safe, and now you don't like that either. So it's like, I don't really know what people wanted. I guess you can't please everyone. And then real quick, I just want to highlight the two, what I would consider to be the two leads in Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson. David Johnson steals this movie. Like, this is his movie. He is incredible. I thought he was so good. There's a moment later in the film where he gets the module and he like flips a switch and he becomes like very in control, knows a lot, totally different to how he used to be. And the actor is clearly getting to do a ton of different stuff and he's having a lot of fun with it, and it's really fun to watch the way he can like switch on a dime. It's awesome. He steals the movie, and Kaylee Spaney, while not being quite a standout, is cementing herself as a real star. She's really great in Civil War. She's great in Priscilla. She's on the rise right now, so keep an eye out for Kaylee Spaney. She is definitely going to be around for a while. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the divisive third act, which like I was hearing that before I went into the film. So I'm like, oh, what's going to happen in this third act that people are like so split on? And then when you see what it is, and this is a spoiler video, so when you see what it is, and it's what I've been calling the baby morph, which might not be apt because he kind of turns into like a man morph. Anyway, it's this disgusting, so creepy looking human xenomorph hybrid thing. It's what I was alluding to earlier, but that they kind of do in Resurrection. And like, I need to watch Resurrection again because I really don't remember that. But apparently there's something similar that happens in that. This thing is so fucking creepy looking. It's way creepier than a xenomorph, way creepier than a facehugger. It's like this human dude. He kind of looks like an engineer, like the engineers from Prometheus and Covenant and stuff. But he's got like the skin of a human, but it's all like textured and ripply and like got all these like bumps and stuff. And he's got like a tail and he's like smiling all weird at one point. It was so fucking weird. I loved it. I thought it was so cool. Such a textbook like Fede thing. Because the thing about Fede is he's a fucking sick bastard, and he is just he's disgusting, but I love him. The fact that he was able to work something like that into this movie and have it make sense in the context of the story and the world, I was like, oh, you sick son of a bitch. I'm so in. I'm so in. Yeah, that's about all I got on Alien Romulus. I'm sure after I'm done filming this, I'll think of something else I forgot to say, but yeah, I really loved this. I thought it worked on many, many levels. I thought it was awesome. Alien Romulus was great. I can't wait to see what they do next. Hopefully we don't have to wait another 6 or 7 years before we get another Alien film. And if it's Fede doing another one, I'm all in. Tickets bought. Don't need to see a trailer. I'm there day one. Alright guys, so let me know down in the comments what you thought of Alien Romulus. Do you think it's one of the best Alien movies? Do you think it sucks? Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. We talk about old movies, new movies, physical media, movie stuff in general. So you're in the right place if you like any of that. And with all of that being said, everybody remember to take care and watch more movies.